Hello. Yeah, we ride. It's till the day that we die. No matter what you used to say. Can we bring Rihanna back? Like, seriously. I mean, she's not dead, but like. This episode is about a Substack post that I really enjoyed. I'm trying to find it on my laptop. So give me like literally 3 seconds and then we can start. I did my makeup, hair is done. Like, guys, I'm trying to be consistent with this, so hopefully it works out. But I tried a new lip combo and it makes my teeth look super white. Whenever I smile, it's like, we ride, it's still a dinner we die. No, I'm joking. Welcome back to Calm 20. Welcome back to Calm 20. Hopefully, we will keep this momentum going because I really am enjoying it. I've gotten so much good feedback from my friends on this, so I'm feeling great. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling good. It's a great start. So, what brings us here? What brings your lovely faces back? Substack. Substack, but more specifically, a post that I read on Substack. So, if you watched a little bit of last episode, I told you guys that I was deleting TikTok and Twitter, or I was going to try to do Twitter. So here's the thing. I definitely deactivated my account on Twitter, and I deactivated my account on TikTok because I just wanted to try to break away from whatever was going on there. Like, it's not that it's influencing me, it's just I don't even want to be in the proximity of being influenced anymore. I'm kind of over it, kind of want to try something new. I think I said this in the last time as well. It's not to say that my For You page sucks. Far from it, actually. But it's kind of tired. I don't want to do it anymore. So, where have I been, you may ask? Substack. Reading. That's where I've been. I've been reading on Substack, reading on AO3. Everyone know about that one. Or books that are on this laptop. I have a whole bunch of downloaded books that I just haven't read. Yeah. Anyway, the point of me even making this was because I read this article right here. I'll put the screenshot so you can look at it yourself. I highly recommend Substack, by the way. If you really only read when it's on social media, I would recommend Substack. It's a great way to like kind of get that together. But I read this one article by the Substack Janu, Janu. Their Substack is called Mistyped. The article is actually called The Elegance of Digital Disappearance. I'll also have it linked because it really is a great article. And it's about this person deleting all of their social media, only focusing on Substack. Just what feelings came with that. And I thought it was really interesting because they talked about the struggle of social media being your tie to being like visible. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I'll read a little section of what they were saying. It goes, I spent weeks like this existing in my own private reality and did something strange to my sense of time. Without the constant influx of updates like what everyone was doing, wearing, eating, thinking, I started to lose track of what was considered current. Trends that I had once felt urgent, necessary to participate in, now passed me by unnoticed. I didn't know which micro celebrity was being canceled, what niche aesthetic had overtaken TikTok, what manufactured discourse was dominating Twitter/X that week, and none of it mattered. Without it, life continued undisturbed. But there was a price. For all the peace that came with logging off, I couldn't ignore the creeping irrelevance. The world moves fast, and if you're not constantly reminding people you exist, they simply move on. It's not malicious, it's just the way attention works now. To be visible is to be real, and to be real is to be remembered. If you're not participating in the ongoing endless stream of content, you are not just forgotten, but you are functionally erased. Oh, T. Listen, I've never heard truer words because at the end of the day, correct. If you are not participating in society, specifically digital social society, you don't really exist. There are so many people, right, that inhabit and use social media, me included. This Instagram, I still have Instagram because I feel this certain I need to let people know what I'm doing. And it's not because I don't even know what it is. Like, I don't know. It's more just like this person said, I want to be remembered. Sue me. I want to be remembered. I want to be known. It fills me with a sense of I have a place here. And it sucks because as we progress as a society. I don't know if that's backwards or not, because it's not even like we're progressing on the fact that if you're not visible, you're not real. It's if I don't like what you're doing, you don't exist to me, right? There's so many people who don't have social media, you just don't know about them, right? And it's not even the fact that you don't have social media. I just don't understand why you don't care enough to have social media, is what I would say if I was talking to someone even a couple months ago. Why don't you have social media? You don't want to let people know that you exist outside of whatever world that you live in privately. You don't want to engage in the social activity, the community of it all. And I understand why, but I feel like as I get older, I understand the objective, I mean, absolute apprehension to being part of it. Even with me starting this, putting my thoughts out there, who cares at the end of the day, right? Who cares, right? But I have this overwhelming fear of not being heard. I have this overwhelming fear of being forgotten, of being erased. I'm erasing myself from the narrative. Let future historians wonder how Eliza reacted when you broke her heart. I don't want to be that. Sue me. I don't want to be the person who does erase themselves from the narrative. I want the journalists and activists and historians to know my name. And that's so inherently stupid. When we think about it on an actual colloquial scale, it's not the fact that each person here doesn't play a role in society. I don't think your role in society inherently is connected to your importance. I do think that every person on this planet is important in a certain way because we just don't know. You want people to know. The problem is you want people to know how important you are. What you say, what you do is not stupid or doesn't have relevance, or you're someone that people can relate to. You want people to relate to you because that's who you are as a person. And then you have people who genuinely don't care. You have people who don't care to be part of the narrative, don't care to be part of history, right? In a sense, don't care that their role isn't broadcasted and their importance isn't broadcasted, right? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At a certain point, your level of importance gets erased no matter what, right? Is it us trying to cope with the fact that we're not this ultra wealthy, that people don't know our names, even if we didn't want them to? The Kardashians, people know who they are. It's not that their role is important in society. They are remembered, will be remembered. Not that they're going to go down in history. I mean, who knows? Maybe they are. Maybe who knows? Their role of importance to whoever doesn't need to be broadcasted because people already care. People like me and you, we gotta do this to make people know who we are, to gain the relevance that we think we deserve. And not to say that we don't, but who cares? We're not the Kardashians. Matter of fact, your job probably doesn't want someone who does this, who has an audience that follows them, hangs on to every word, that has the power to create trends, the power to influence. They probably don't want that. They don't want you to be known. So I think when people step back from social media, it's a dig at your own preservation, self-preservation. In this day and time, it is really, really lonely if you are not on social media because everyone else is on it. The people who are on social media and then take step back, they're not just erased. You are always stagnant. And I think that's one of the things I'm scared of. I think myself is that when I remove myself from these places that I tried to put effort into, I don't want to be just remembered as that thing. It's a weird phenomena, specifically TikTok, because Twitter is so annoying to where it's like, I click on it, but it's just to see if I'm going to get rage baited for the day. So honestly, not being rage baited on Twitter has been amazing. TikTok is a different thing though. You use that as a way to, most people do at least, to get out their personal thoughts in a way that is funny, quirky, relatable, right? So if you feel like you gain this audience on TikTok, and then you just leave. Now what? It's not even to say that I had an audience, but it's like, you get one viral video, and it's not hard to get a viral video. It really isn't. It's actually pretty easy to get a viral video on TikTok. You're like, wait, but I could have done it again. Now I don't have that. But what if I do it? But what if this is the video? What if this is the one? It's scary being erased from the narrative. It's scary to let people be able to see where you go, what you do. But I think it's even scarier to not let people know what you exist and the life that you live. Because, I think everyone, a little bit, your pride is in the fact that people think you're cool. You're relatable. You're quirky. You have a good fashion sense. You want people to see you. The comments, whether there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, that say you're cool. I like this. Post more. It's an ego boost because people care. And as much as people swear that they don't, NYPD, let's stop. As much as people swear that they don't care about what other people are doing, that's inherently not true. By downloading social media, you have told the world that you care what others are doing and you want people to see what you're doing. Even if it's you on a burner account, you care. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't have social media. It's a very simple fact. So, and I don't think it's a bad thing to care what others are doing. You need community. It gets a little shaky when social media is your only sense of community. That's where the people who get on it and are like, this is the most rancid blunt rotation because it's people trying to show off, see who can win the flexing contest of what they're doing with their life. And most of the time it's fake. We know that social media is fake. Most of the time it is fake. Okay? Presentation of it all, right? Making sure that it looks good to the naked eye. You don't want to be perceived in a way that doesn't fit your own personal narrative. When you erase yourself from that factor, people then have to make their own narrative on you without you. Or they don't care to make a narrative of you. And you have to deal with that. And I think it's a scary thought. It's a traumatic thought because who wants to be forgotten? And I was reading this and I was, just thinking about like myself and how I fit in that narrative and like, I want to be perceived in the way that I perceive myself. So I try to put myself out there as in the most authentic way. But I also know that in doing that, I'm putting on a facade. I'm trying to be as authentically me as I can. It's not going to be seen as authentic because I am still trying to cater to your eye. Doing this and trying to say that this is 100% authentic is a lie. It will always be a lie. Because again, you're using it as brownie points. For people to be like, dude, your YouTube video was fire. Your take, fire take, W take, your personality, amazing, love it. This is so authentic. Real love. You feed off of that. And I feel like anyone who says that they don't, you're lying. Who doesn't want their ego stroked? You're lying. We want to be pretentious and say that it doesn't stroke our ego because we know we don't want the validation. We don't want to admit that we need the validation. I would actually recommend a lot of people be more upfront about wanting the validation. Yeah, I do want people to tell me I dress nice. Yeah, I do want people to tell me my YouTube videos are great. Yeah, I do want people to tell me that I sound nice or, yada, 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 XYZ, whatever. That's more authentic than saying, yeah, I get it, but I don't really care. The epidemic of nonchalantness, brother, who are you fooling? My brother in Christ, who are you fooling? And I think it's very easy to be nonchalant on social media Because again, most people actually like that. A lot of people, man, I mean, they don't really care if you tell them, but like, I think that's kind of cool though, because they're cool, even though they don't really, they don't even care. But it's like you're a poser, poser alert. Hey, someone ring the poser bell. It's you. Like, you're a poser because everyone wants to be pat on the back. And actually, I would argue that the validation coming from strangers means more than it does coming from people you actually know and love. Sue me, sue me. But I think the random person on the street telling you that your outfit is nice and you look amazing, you're gorgeous, mwah, obviously in a non-weird way, just being like a genuine compliment, hits a little bit, just a little bit more than your friend that you've known for forever saying, "Oh, girl, you look good. Thanks." Thanks. And it's not to say that the compliments aren't appreciated worldwide. You know what I mean? Like the sun still reigns, or the sun still shines regardless of who's saying what I look like. But it might shine a little bit brighter from the person who I don't know, because they have no bias on me. They saw me on the street and they said, "Wow, I fuck with this." Opposed to this person who's known me, knows my style, knows the cycles I go through, knows my ins and outs, my insecurities about whatever it may be that I'm trying to present myself as. They're going to say that to help me, to try to build my esteem up. Or just because they're my friend. They want my friend, as a friend, you should want your friend to feel good about themselves. So you're saying, "Man, the outfit looks great. Your makeup looks mwah." Okay? Mug down. Stranger saying that. Okay, wait, maybe the mug is maybe the tea far white today, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So, who am I? Yeah. We can say that all day and night. Who am I? What do I know? But you do want someone to follow up those statements with saying, "Oh, you're cool. Who are you?" Everyone knows who you are. It hits real good in the chest. It does. It makes you sleep a little bit softer at night. It does. Because again, I don't believe you. You're a liar if you say that you don't like your ego stroked. Come on. Let's be that ass. Let's be that ass. Like, come on, you do. You like it. And I think that's inherently human. Now, it does get tricky when you put in social media into it. Because it's different to have those compliments told you every day, person to person, face to face. And it's different when you only get those on social media. It's not superficial, but everyone has an algorithm. The more you get those comments on social media instead of going outside and getting that validation like face to face, it builds you into an algorithm. You function in a way that you think an algorithm would like you. Removing TikTok specifically, I noticed there were certain things that I started to do because I had seen it on TikTok. You do start to kind of, even if you recognize it, right? You do just start to function as your algorithm. You start to talk about the things in your algorithm. You start to dress like the things on your algorithm. You just start to be your algorithm. I don't want to be an algorithm. I want to be me. So I removed myself from the algorithm, but I've been attached to this algorithm for years. It's hard to try to, and that's what I was talking about last episode of just centering myself, finding who I am, finding out what I like to do, what I want to do without the influence of an algorithm. We used to do it all the time, which is why we saw such uniqueness, because everyone wasn't tailored to an algorithm. And it's not to say that social media didn't exist, but it definitely wasn't such a prevalent thing as it is now. People weren't making it their life's mission to be on the algorithm. So it's a weird thing, but I like it. I feel lighter. And this article, so eventually I had to make a decision. Total disappearance was alluring, but I wasn't ready to let go of my own mythos just yet. The trick, I realized, wasn't to reject social media entirely, but to control it. To exist online strategically in a way that served me rather than drained me. I didn't need to constantly post or update or maintain a presence just for the sake of being perceived. I could be present, but rare, seen but not consumed. I could treat social media like an exclusive club, like drop in occasionally, leave before anyone expected too much from me. And that's the real issue. It's about being perceivable. The minute you put something out there, you become legible. available for interpretation, judgment, commentary. And after so much time away, that feeling is alien to me now. Like stepping back into a room where the lights are suddenly too bright, the noise too loud. I used to find comfort in it, but now it just feels off. There's something odd about being a girl in her 20s without social media. It feels almost illegal, like I missed some mandatory briefing where we were all supposed to agree that existing online is just what we do now. There's an expectation that my life should be publicly accessible in some form, posts, stories, updates, something to confirm that I am still here. But I don't play that part anymore, and that makes me an anomaly. Sometimes I wonder if I'm making things unnecessarily difficult for myself, if I'm rejecting something that would make my life easier just for the sake of proving a point. Like, okay, yes, social media is exhausting, but it's also useful, especially now that I have a newsletter I can promote over there, gain a few subs, networking, socializing, even just staying in the loop. It all happens online. But opting out, I've made myself harder to reach, harder to remember, and in a world where people's attention spans are measured in seconds, maybe that's not a good thing. Let's talk about this. People want to control their narrative over you. It's always going to be like that. I think that's just the bias, the internal bias we have for a lot of people. We meet people, we think what we know about them, we find out other information that maybe confirms or throws that bias out the window, and we still have to sit there and be like, well, I don't know because da 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 da. That's what they said, but da da da. And it's like, you have the facts, you may have evidence, or you may have evidence, you may have evidence that proves or disproves, but you still are going to have that implicit bias. Social media is just a big bias. People are going to look at me and be like, she thinks she has the know. She thinks, look at her. She thinks she's Socrates, bro. She thinks she's Hippocrates, bro. No, I know exactly who I am. You just think you know what I know. I know what I know. You don't know me. And I think that's the problem with social media. She hit it, it's harder to not be perceived, and it's even harder to not be in control of the way you are perceived. Because even not being perceived, that's being perceived as a certain thing. She thinks she's mysterious, bro. She thinks she's better than us because she's not on social media. No, that's not the case. Because Substack is a form of social media. Even she said that in the article. Read the article. I know that I like social media. I'm doing it now. I'm just doing it in a different way, right? Because I'm talking to a void, but there's no echo chamber. I don't hear a lot of things back unless I want to. And that's the problem. People want people want you to hear them no matter what. Okay? This never stops, ever. Ever. Whether social media is amplifying it or whether you're just not in the vicinity to hear them physically do this. Everyone is yapping, always, me included, because we all have a bias, and social media makes it worse. And I'm tired of having a bias, and that will never change because we all have all types of bias. If you know anything about implicit, explicit, and unconscious bias, it never blind spot bias. It never stops. Literally, you are always going to have a bias. But I think social media makes it 10 times worse because you're literally only given a smidgen of people. And people forget that. This is a clip of what you think my life is. You think my life could be sucky, amazing, she's this, she's that, but you don't know because you're not here. You're seeing me through a screen. A smidgen of my life, a smidgen of my time. And you make what you think of me. You perceive me in the way that I allow you to perceive. But even then I can't control it. Can't, because you're gonna find some way to twist something, and it's scary. And girl, what if I just don't want to be part of it no more? What about that? It's weird. It's a weird take. It's a weird thing to do. But what do we know? What do you know? More importantly, so it's. I thought it was an interesting article, and I thought it's so relatable. By all means, it's hard to not be part of this social world because that's what we are. We are a social world. Everything is connected socially, digitally, right? And it's hard to adjust. There's loneliness, the loneliness of it all. You know, you get off social media and suddenly people don't know how to contact you. You get off social media and suddenly people don't understand you anymore. You get off social media and apparently you just become this figment of imagination to people. And it's lonely. It's lonely not being perceived. It is. So, rewriting the narrative of who and why you are perceived, how you are perceived, whatever the case may be, by deleting social media, it's freeing, it's exciting. You're not part of the status quo. And then you get deeper and see who really wants to see you for you, who wants to be there for you, who wants to check in on you, and who was there for the algorithm of it all. Crazy, I know. Crazy, I know. In conclusion, I'm off social media. I'm not off the grid, but I'm off social media. Majority of social media. I'm still on Instagram and Substack, and I'll be yapping and all that. So this was second visual episode. Crazy. Crazy. This is so crazy that this is like a real thing, that like people can really like see me do this and talk and yap, and like it's very weird compared to holding the mic and yeah, you know what I mean, and no one can see you. It's weird, confusing, and I kind of like it. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna stop yapping now because I really don't have anything else to say. Bye. This was Mad Star. This was Calm 20. I'll see ya in the next one.